Hey folks, welcome back, and for you newcomers, welcome. Today we're going to be getting into the modeling, but right up front I'm going to have to apologize for the screen capturing quality. Unfortunately, I didn't catch it, but my screen capturing software was not capturing the whole screen of the software, which is really, really irritating, and I'm sorry. But luckily, that part that is lost isn't critical. It's only the edge and the bottom, so you're not seeing me do a few things in ZBrush Core, and you're not seeing a few components at the bottom of that. That goes the same for when we're in Fusion 360 as well as Blender. Yes, I use Blender because the stuff I needed to do, that was the only program that I personally have that I was able to do it. Alright, without further ado, cue the intro, let's get creative. Alright, now we're going to get into this. We're going to start off by importing an image of a guitar. And I just pulled a random image that I found off the internet. I didn't even look at what site it came from. I just grabbed it because it wasn't important to me. All I wanted was a front-facing guitar. And then we're going to start off in Fusion 360 here to draw out the guitar. I'm going to use primarily 3-point axes to generate the exterior. And then we'll use boxes and all that lovely stuff to generate the rest of it. This is the approach that I decided to take on the guitar because it made the most sense. It was going to guarantee me the sharp lines that I needed for it, as well as semi-accurate, but not really, because I wasn't looking for accuracy here. Image of the guitar. Well, not image, but model of the guitar. It's a very primitive model that has very little detail, because I didn't need the detail. We're talking about something at the end of the day, at the end of the hour, when everything's said and done, is only going to be 40 millimeters high at the most, because we're creating a keychain. So high detail was not important, especially considering we're printing on an FDM printer, and that will not lead to the higher detail anyways. You're going to lose a lot of detail through the printing process. So you're planning design. When you do design, you plan for what you're outputting. This is actually goes right back to my theory when it comes to graphic design. When I was working as a designer for a t-shirt company, the process that we took, a lot of my designs and processes were designed around what the needs were of the printing process and what the needs were of the customers. A huge balance between the two, because too much detail, you're going to lose a lot going from digital or photo to the actual print process. There's a lot of loss there. And it's the same theory here when it comes down to 3D printing and designing for 3D printers. You don't want something super detailed if you're printing on a smaller scale. But if you're printing on a larger scale, you're going to want that larger detail that comes with the territory. Now, as I said about the detail end of things, it's critical that you know how much detail you can achieve and where to draw the line. You can get a lot of fine details with an FDM printer, but at the same time, you can't get too small, I guess I'm trying to say. Because if you go too small, what's going to happen is that detail is just not going to show up. It's not going to be there. The printer can't handle it or can't produce that fine detail. It will try, mind you, but you're not going to see it, feel it, or be able to notice it anyways. So you're consuming polygons for no reason at that point. Alright, so I was done Fusion 360. I extruded everything that I needed to generate the guitar model. Problem is, all it does is export an STL file. Exporting out an OBJ file will cost me an extra $100 to be able to do that kind of process. Well, so I ended up adding an additional process in my pipeline here, which is bringing it into something like Blender if you have another program that can pull in STL files and export them out as a OBJ file model, then you're more than welcome to it. Or if your current program does a better job at sculpting. I don't like the sculpting process in the in Blender. It's terrible. It doesn't work well. I tried it, it just doesn't work. It's not very friendly. Now, the other problem here is I tried doing the boot all in ZBrush Core. Complete fail. I couldn't get the smooth lines that I wanted. So, nice thing about ZBrush, it does take in object files, so that's part of the process I'm taking. Now, the thing you're doing here is you're generating what you want to, I would call, it's just a base model. As a matter of fact, if you go start using ZBrush, that sphere, when you first open it up, it's what's called a base model. Anyways, the tool, that little ball is called a tool in ZBrush, but it's a model. And that's what you start off with, that's what you work from, that's your beginning point. What I'm doing here is essentially the same thing. I'm creating my own starting point. What I'll end up doing is importing this as a tool in ZBrush. ZBrush Core, and getting it to that point. But before I do that, I needed to get a roughly the right size or bigger size than what I normally would in any other program. So I used Fusion 360 to lay down the foundation, which is the base foot, and then I'll go bring it into Blender and fight with Blender to get what I'm looking for to be at that point for a base model, which requires a lot of stupid little cleanup, and that's what's going on here, some cleanup of the triangles because they're not needed. It's more detail than needed, and they're just going to fight me when the next part of the process in Blender here. So as I clean up and start shifting and manipulating the individual points, you'll see me continue on. You'll see that I start deleting some of these points. After I adjust them, move them, and decide that I don't like the layout, and manipulate them. And also I wanted to get these two parts joined and the base of my boots laid out. And we're using Blender for this at this point. As you can see, I'm building the bridge. I got to join that bridge at somehow, which will require some rebuilding of the polygons once I have some of them joined together. And that I actually find an easier way to approach it than trying to line up all your polys, especially when I don't really need a perfect model at this point. Ironically, at this point, we don't need, when we export this out as an OBJ file, it doesn't need to be perfect because what we're going to be doing is fixing all that in ZBrush. Right now, our only goal here is to get it to the point where I can work with it, ultimately. So that requires me cutting out, find a way of bridging the stuff, and I failed the first couple attempts. The bridges didn't do the way it was supposed to be, didn't get what I wanted out of them. As you can see, again, I apologize for the cutoff. You're missing a huge piece of the program. Okay, you know, I'm not really using that side. I'm not doing any of the modifiers anyway, so not a huge deal breaker. And it's not enough for me to call this as a fail. But with that said, I did manage to get everything I needed here done. So here's me doing it individually, trying to get things started with the bridging, realizing slowly that I can actually get what I want at a faster rate by selecting more edges than I was at the beginning. You'll see me moving a lot quicker. I think I just did it in 2 or 3 passes on the bottom, and that actually ended up generating the joints that I needed there. And that some point, as soon as I'm done this part, I did need to go back in, delete some of those triangles and making them into quads so I can add more edge loops. And that's what I'm doing here, is removing the extra line to generate my quads. And this way I can actually bring in my more edge loops and start creating the form that I'm looking for, the curve that is needed. I could have probably done a bevel, but I'd still have to do a similar process in removing the triangles and generating quads instead. As you can see, I'm trying to fix all that so everything lines up properly. So I can work with it and just work it in this program here in Blender. If I didn't do this part, I wouldn't be able to work on those areas. And if you notice, I only am changing the quads where I need to work, and that's it. Going beyond that just would have wasted more time than needed. So once that part was done, and once this part is done, you see me forming the shape I'm looking for through selecting the polygons themselves and or using the edges of them to generate, to be able to not generate but manipulate them, move them, scale them, and all that lovely stuff that comes with the territory. And yeah, this is kind of fun. Even though I'm not a big fan of Blender, I don't really like the interface, this is still quite a bit of fun to do. I do encourage exploring the program. It's a very robust program, but at the same time, it's just miserable to use because of the interface itself. Alright, so I'm doing some extruding here. I'm trying to clean up some of these polygons and remove them, and you can see I'm having quite a bit of difficulty fighting with it, where I have to cut some, because as you see, the polys are folding up a little bit, which also causing some of the math that's behind the work to calculate from the wrong points. As you can see, it joined up a point that wasn't supposed to be joined. So I had to remove those, rebuild the poly, and all that. But that's part of the territory. Even the expensive programs have this same problem when you're cleaning up stuff. A lot of times, what artists will do is what it's called. They will build a new mesh over top. That is a lot cleaner with quads. I forgot the name. I'm just tired right now. When I was working with Maya, I'd be doing the same thing here. I'd end up having to manipulate models because, well, actually, no, that's not true. I'd still have to do this. I'd be working a very similar pipeline when I started working in Maya when I was back in school, learning how to use it way back when on an SGI system, which was awesome. If you ever get the opportunity to work on an SGI system, they're fun. The interface is neat. It's a very unique interface. It's very clean, and it's just fun to even look at. But it won't hold up today's modern systems. So, anyway, as you can see, I'm starting to form the boot part itself, the toe, the leather, where the leather would be on the shoe itself. Spending the time here saved me a huge amount of time later when I came to the sculpting part, because there's prevents me from having to add a ton of stuff that, material-wise, is just a lot of work. I probably could have gotten away with doing all of this in ZBrush, but in reality, this was more efficient at the end of the day. It was more efficient to do it this way, and efficiency is kind of part of the key to sculpting with this stuff. I mean, at the end of this whole process took me at least 6 hours to do, to create where, to the point where I can do a test print of the boot. So yeah, Oh, excuse me. That's where we're at this point. Now, yes, of course, I've scaled everything down to approximately a half hour. That was necessary. I don't think you guys wanted to sit through a 5-hour video going, oh my god, why do you do this? This is taking so long. So yeah, this has been cut down to a half hour, or squished into a half hour, I should say. For better or not, whether you like it or not, whether you think this is the right way of not to approach to do this, then it's not important. Decided this because it's gonna save time for you guys and not be bored and like, oh my god, this takes forever. So yeah, this has been speed up significantly. Just like my last videos, because I don't think you need to see more or sit there through it long. These aren't tutorials anyways. They're just me going through and allowing you guys to watch the process of creating, how I created these things. And as far as playing other programs playing nice together, that's kind of important to me. Being able to transfer from one program to another. Because one of the problems I'm running into with ZBrush Core is that it doesn't have a skeleton system. It has, you have the Z spheres, but you don't have the skeleton system. You're not able to pose, that's the word I'm looking for, your models if you're doing a character of some kind, whether it's a bug or creature, monster, or a little person, or a realistic person. Either way, you don't have the ability to manipulate the, I mean, you do have the, you're able to manipulate it, but you don't have the bone structure that would make that easily done for posing. And here, aside from that, that's not, right now it's not a concern for me, considering we're working on a boot. Alright, so I've got everything extracted out, as you can see. And you can see I'm working in quads. This is when you're designing or modeling, that's what you normally work in, is quads. The STL files that are generated with triangles, they are messy. Holy crap, are they messy. But they're not meant to be manipulated. They're meant for printing. That's why those triangles are there for a reason. They're in specific spots for a reason, to make sure that you get decent quality print out of them. So here I am, making sure the boot has a decent form before, shape, before I go into ZBrush. Alright, it's getting there. It's not going to be perfect when I'm done, because I don't have the patience right now to really get that all lined up nicely. And as you can see, there's no detail whatsoever being really placed into this. It's just a shape that's being generated here, in a very specific shape. This alone took me at least an hour and a half to 2 hours to do. Alright, now that I got it exported and I got it imported into ZBrush along with the guitar, we're going to start manipulating it. As you can see, I needed to smooth some of this out to start off with. You can see the hard edges. Sorry for my chair. Again, I just don't have the money to replace it yet. That's going to cost me a couple $100 for that, because I'm going to get a decent chair if I'm going to replace it. Now, oops, sorry about that. I thought I cleared all that stuff out. I do listen to music while I'm working on this stuff. Sometimes through YouTube, other times it's through my phone. In this case, it was through YouTube. Oops, and I did it again. I thought I caught that. Oh well. Anyways, going too fast to see what I'm listening to. That's just random stuff. So I'm still. Yeah. Cool. Oh, I just didn't like what I was listening to. So I decided to change the genre. And So you can see I'm starting to really mold in what I'm looking for. The sculpting here process, I'm still feeling out what I'm looking for as far as design-wise goes. I know I want a lip up there of some kind, and I know that I'm going to be bouncing back to, yeah. So what I'm trying to do is get a little bit of feeling that there's actually depth in the boot without having the depth there. On the final print, you can actually feel that little indent. It's strong enough where you're not going to lose it, but yet it has a nice feel to the nice shape to it. That keeps it consistent. So yeah, at the end of this segment, once I'm done the modeling, I've done a test print, which is a little bit what you saw at the beginning. Now, if you guys want to see what the final test print looks like, you're more than welcome to obviously wait till the end, of the video, or you can just move your cursor or scrub all the way through to the end of it to see what the end results of. Right now, I'm just using whatever material I have in the printer, which is just a PLA, which is actually going to be one of the printer's printing materials that I'm going to be using. The other one's going to be a wood material. And at this point, my goal is just to get a finished boot to work with. So once I get the fleshed out design, I will deal with the cutting it apart, model apart, and generating two models for the final print afterwards. So I can run the two different colors that I plan on doing. And that's where we're at right now, is with that. So I'm starting to build in detail, as far the basic detail. I'm searching for that shape that I want there. As you can see, I'm glancing at a few different designs, seeing what there is on the market, what they kind of look like, so I have an idea. Obviously, I am not an expert on boots, especially cowboy boots, and I don't care to be. All I care about is what I'm looking for as far as design-wise go, which is just a basic shape. And I decided to keep it really simple this time around, because knowing the limitations of the printer, along with knowing my limitations as well, my skill level isn't super high. You'll see that I'm looking at it and saying, yeah, this ain't working for me, and try a couple different things, and then I'll just back off and try again. And that's what's going on here. What I'm doing is making a mask. And that mask is what's going to be used to expand it out. And creating a new subtool which you can't see. Again, I apologize for that. I feel really bad. You're missing a good portion of the screen. And it's kind of awkward to look at, that knowing that I'm missing that nice little portion. Don't worry, by the next video I'll have that all corrected, and I've already actually fixed the problem, so the next video there may be some of it, and as we'll move along in that next video, because I've already started recording portions of it, those portions will be cut off. Then you'll have portions that won't be cut off. Yep. I'm still trying to find different ways of selecting and getting what I'm looking for, cleaning things up as I move along. And that's pretty much what's going on here. It's me trying to push in stuff so I don't have to worry about it later. Okay, as we move, oh god. Try to remove the stuff that I don't like or want without much success. Yeah, that's being cleaned up at this point, and mhm. Okay, anyways, as we chug along here, we are getting to the point where I'm going to be pretty happy with the end results. And with that, where are we on this video? Oh, yeah, we're getting close to the end. Don't worry, guys. We're getting there. Building up more detail here, what I want to do is expand it out some more so we have like a lip or some, or I feel like a lip or something, so you can get a sense of more of a presence there of the separation. Again, there's a lot of selecting involved in creating these things with this program, but that's fine. That's kind of part of the course, and it's kind of neat how it does it. You'll see I tried a couple things, decided I didn't like it, tried something different, and that's the nice thing is you can do that. Okay, as we move along. Alright. So I'm creating a little lip, yeah, as you can see. I will bring back the full boot at some point soon, once I get something I'm satisfied with, and that I can work with at that point. And try a few different things and decide I didn't like any of it. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm kind of like spacing out here. As I was watching myself sculpt. To me, it's kind of fascinating to watch. And trying a few things, seeing what works, what doesn't. It's fun. Even watching it is kind of fun to do. So yeah, that's where we're at here. We're getting close to the completion of this model. A few more minutes and you'll see where I leave off and do a test print. The test print I'm going to just do in one color, and that to me made a lot of sense. Now I'm making some more detail in the toe, which in the final print isn't really all that noticeable. I think I increased it. Also, I printed at a really low resolution, so that doesn't surprise me any. And as I continue to manipulate and try to create the shapes that are necessary, giving this boot a nice little V at the front, and then a bold line at the down, which actually came out really nice on the test print. You can see it, feel it very well, you can see it well, and it's got a nice touch and feel to it, ultimately. Again, doing some more manipulating, trying to get the feel right. Excuse me. Again, the problem here is I didn't want a solid, I didn't want it empty, so that's why I did it the way I did it. And now I'm lining up the guitar the way I wanted to try it out, and the way I want it to look right. Now, the first print there that you saw, oh, whoops, sorry about the blank screen. The first part of the guitar, first printout of the guitar, I should say, had the stem go beyond the boot, and that was not happening. It snapped off pretty quickly after print. So I was like, okay, it's too small and it's too weak for that. So what I ended up doing was lining it up without going too far beyond. And I think that looks good. I think it looks better that way anyways. How I have it taking up the whole thing. I thought about trying to add notes, musical notes and stuff. It just didn't work. It wasn't going to work. I didn't even try, but there's really no place to put it in. They probably wouldn't look right. So here I'm preparing for the test print. So I'm taking everything, duplicating it, placing it on the other side, seeing how everything sits, making sure I can line things up properly for the print. That is where we're at now. As soon as this part's done, then we're going to be ready for the print at that point. Cool. So here I am breaking it off. Final print done. Alright, I'm going to break it off the printer and we're going to take a quick look at the end model. If I can get it off. Alright, there it goes. As the print head drops. Alright, now we're going to take a look at the results. You can see that there's a couple holes at the top and there's a couple holes at the bottom. What I had to do at the bottom, I had to actually push it underneath the print bed. I will be fixing that for the final print. The heel does not sit on the print, so in other words, the front's a little too low. You can see the guitar quite nicely. That came out quite nice. The resolution of the details on the boot itself came out pretty well. I used a skirt on the print, so that stuff just comes right off. As you can see, I'm just peeling it right off with my fingers. That was to help adhere to the bed. So the print itself came out really nice. I did a low quality print too. So when I come to the final print, it's going to even look better than this. I was really happy with the results. You can really read the guitar really well. You can read them as boots really well. You can feel the detail and you can see the detail. The only thing that is unfortunate is you can really see the print lines pretty strongly, but that's okay in this case. It was a low quality print. Everything came out really nice. I was actually surprised on how well it printed. An unfortunate result was like on the top there's a hole, which I'm going to go and fix a little bit for the final version of it. Everything sits well, the print went nicely, and on the bottom I need to make sure the feet are level and not having two different steps. Also at the bottom, between the front part of the foot and the back of the foot on the boot, there is a hole that's being generated down there at the bottom as well. So the only way that's going to be resolved is by adding more top and bottom layers, and that should fix that. That would also resolve the problem at the top too, technically. But I want to smoothen that out. I don't like the little divots that's generated, so that's fine. I also have to, once I have the boots separated, duplicated, and mirrored, on one of the side I have to generate a hole to put the keyring in. So I'll be cutting a hole out of that as well. Alright, and with that, I am going to say good night. Enjoy your evening. I hope you guys subscribe for more. Hit that bell icon, and I look forward to the next video with you guys.